Welcome to Inside the Pickle Jar, a podcast where we dive into the wonderfully quirky world of neurodiversity. I'm Tanya Weaver, your friendly neighborhood relationship coach specializing in neurodiverse individuals and neurodivergent myself. From communication tips to managing those "did you really just say that" moments, every episode will share real-life stories, expert advice, and practical strategies to help you tackle obstacles and build stronger, more fulfilling connections. Listen on to Inside the Pickle Jar, where every connection matters, every pickle has its place. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Pickle Jar. And in this episode, I just kind of want to relax a little bit and talk to all of my listeners out there and the viewers of my podcast just a little bit more about me and what I have gotten accomplished thus far. We're about to, by the time this episode airs, the next day will be Thanksgiving in the United States. And I am really grateful for a lot. I've accomplished quite a bit in the last couple of years. This has been a long-term goal, having this podcast, as well as reaching out to those that are like me. It has been, I've had hurdles, and even in my own mind about whether or not I should be authentic and come clean, so to speak, be out of the closet with my neurodivergence, accept myself for being autistic, for being ADHD, and embracing that weird, awkward little girl or 20-something-year-old and 30-something-year-old who has been through quite a bit. I've made a lot of mistakes, I think, because of the way my brain is wired, and I've come through on the other side. In full confession, I go in and out of therapy. I'm back in therapy now. So if any of you are considering it, just know that you're not the only one out there that is working through some stuff. And as we get into the holidays, that can sometimes be even more apparent. I just really, truly want to help all of my neurodivergent friends out there, whether you have dyslexia, dyspraxia, whether you have autism or on the spectrum, or maybe you have ADHD, maybe you're ADHD. There are a lot of forms of neurodiversity, which, when your brain is wired a little bit different, it can sometimes feel very alone. And I truly thought I was really alone. So I want to help all of my neurodivergent friends so that you can be successful. As much as you are willing to put forth the effort and to try, sometimes it's unnerving. I want you to feel seen. I would really like to help at some point build community. And I was talking with a coaching friend of mine, and she was asking me, to what end do you want to create community? And it might be something around helping legislatively build a community that maybe has lobbyists and can be represented in the DC area, talking to Congress people, advocating for not just a niche portion of the neurodivergent community like autistic people, or I know that there are some ADHD advocates out there that really try to help, but to bring everybody together. There are a good 12 to 20% of the population is considered neurodivergent. And so if I can help my neurodivergent people feel seen, feel like they have a chance at the same opportunities that a lot of neurotypical people have, and that they also can shine bright and be seen for the gifts that they have. I know that having always been weird and awkward, I knew that I saw things differently. I offered answers differently. I offered solutions to problems differently. And that has always made me show up a little bit not as accepted. I ask a lot of questions in meetings. I'm the kind of person who maybe thinks outside the box. I had a boss one time write in my performance review that I was a puzzle solver, and I really liked the big puzzles. I like complicated problems, and I like finding solutions to them. And I do feel like if my neurodivergent friends can be successful and be seen for what they have to offer, just even getting hired as a result of being neurodivergent is sometimes complicated. And so that's one of my primary goals. But the other big bucket of goals that I have that I really want everyone to understand is if you're a parent of someone who's neurodivergent, it's sometimes really difficult. And I have a couple of friends who have children that are profoundly autistic. And those are their words, not mine. PDD-NOS is used quite frequently for them. And it's not easy, you know. It doesn't always feel like a gift every day for my parents, my friends who are parents of the profoundly autistic. Some of them are aggressive, some of them are violent, some of them are don't have verbal skills, and those are challenges that can't be ignored. So if I can also help the parents of those that are profoundly autistic and profoundly disabled know that they are not alone, and if I can help bring them together, and whether it's a Zoom chat room where everybody gets together and we talk about how we can improve the culture for their kids and improve help and support for their children, I would love for you to reach out to me and let's see if we can't get something started. I'm not looking to charge, I'm looking to help so that you can be successful parents of these kids and that you can see them thrive and be okay. Because let's face it, as parents, we know we're not going to live forever. And when our kids are going to carry on without us, we want them to have a world that makes sense for them too, and where they feel safe and seen. If you have a child who's ADHD and you're getting notes from the teacher, and I know I personally was one of those whose mind would wander and I would cause, what seemed like distraction problems for the rest of the kids. It wasn't ever intentional. Just, I moved faster. I thought faster. I was in reading groups that were 2 or 3 grades above me, and so I was in my own reading group. I was in my own math group, unless, of course, I had to memorize arithmetic problems, and then I was quite horrible at it. I don't want parents to feel abandoned, and it's a struggle when you have kids that are twice exceptional or even once exceptional. Both of my kids were in the gifted and talented program. Um, I've seen a lot. I have friends who've seen a lot, and I would really like to help bring people together so that we can help build community around these kids and build community around each other so that we are solving these problems together. I don't have all the answers, but I have a lot of energy and passion for this. And I know what it was like to be a child of a neurodivergent person, and I know what it's like to be the parent of neurodivergent children. So if I can help all of those things come together. The other thing is, I know that a lot of my parents are stuck because they don't have nowhere to turn, or they are. I have a couple of friends. One specifically, she sits on a board for autistic community within her local region, and I don't want to get too specific, but she is struggling because the people who have taken over as the president of this board are now not the kind of people that she thinks are advocating well, and they're very self-serving, and somehow they ended up being in charge. And there's sometimes opportunities for us to have bigger conversations about what has to be true for us to be successful as parents, as neurodivergent people. Um, there are bigger problems out there, and I try to talk on my podcast about some of those problems. I do think that sometimes I spend too much time on my podcast talking about how awesome neurodivergent people are, but I don't think I talk enough about how we can overcome some of these problems. And I want to start focusing on that after the first of the year, because I know that a lot of you are stuck and that you are continuing to try to mask And it's difficult. Sometimes you feel like you need to stay in the closet, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes if you're the parent of a child, you're trying really hard to help your child show up well, and you're sometimes covering up for some of their mistakes. You're trying to manage the appearance of how they show up to the world because you want them to be accepted like all the other kids are accepted. And it's painful. My kids were, twice exceptional, and especially my oldest. And he had sometimes behavior that didn't show up well in the classroom at times. And so I worked really hard because I had masked. I'd always, covered up the fact that I was neurodivergent. I just thought, I had some special skills or that I was smarter than. It's just that my brain has a neuro highway that moves connections and processing through faster, but not when it comes to social skills. And the same thing happened with my oldest son. He was high energy. He was emotionally intense. And even though he could run circles around a lot of the kids when it came to math and reading and science, he was behind in a lot of the social skills. And so whether I was punishing him poorly because I didn't understand the situation, but I learned some lessons. And I want you to know that you're not alone as a parent. And as a neurodivergent person, you're not alone in your masking. And I know that you keep trying to do that, but that doesn't work. What does work is finding out how you can be authentic. As a parent, as a neurodivergent person, how can you be authentic in a world of neurotypical people? And let's be clear, 80% of the world is neurotypical. How can I help you do those things better? And that's what I have the solutions to. I want to spend more time in the next year as I come up on the new year. I want to spend more time on my podcast giving you real solutions to real problems so that when you go out into the world, whether you're a parent or you're a neurodivergent person, that you know that you're building the skills and that you have the ability to take care of both yourself if you're a neurodivergent, or if you're a parent, heaven knows you should be taking care of yourself. And I want to provide you those kinds of solutions and talk about those things openly. I'm going to spend more time researching what are those problems that are the biggest pain points for you. And my YouTube channel is just now starting to get some traction. My podcast, you may or may not know this, but my podcast now, this will be my 65th episode. I've been at this over a year, trying to reach the neurodivergent community and to reach those that are employers of the neurodivergent community. Maybe I also would love to reach out to those who love people that are neurodivergent. And sometimes it's tricky. You don't always know why they give you the criticisms that they give you. Like if you want to know whether or not an outfit looks good on you, ask your neurodivergent partner if you have one, because they'll be more than happy to tell you that you probably have other clothes that you could be wearing. So I put all that out there to say, I really want to spend more time. I am a credentialed coach. I'm an executive coach, but my real passion is helping those that don't understand why they aren't being accepted themselves. Why are they still having to mask, especially in this era where the DEI policies have been rolled back, that you may feel like your hiring and your career opportunities are not as present as you thought they could be. I know that it is very complicated for people to get hired. I have several clients reaching out to me right now. They're trying to get their career on a new trajectory. And industries are just not hiring, it feels like. And a lot of that has to do with the ingestion of your resume, how your cover letters, how your applications are being sucked into the corporations these days. A lot of AI is being used. And all of those algorithms, if you've done any kind of social media, whether it's TikTok or Instagram, and you have struggled to get your channel off the ground, you're learning what the algorithm is. And if you've done any work at all with AI, then you know that AI is its own means to an end. There are a lot of opportunities for AI, and as companies get better or worse about using AI and scanning through resumes, it's getting harder and harder for people to find jobs. So I do get a lot of coaching requests on how can I move my career forward. And the real trick, the real gift, the real insight that I have learned is that it's not about AI. It's about your network. It's about who do you know, who can you talk to, what are the connections that you can be making to try to get your career off to a new trajectory, find that new job, find your passion, find the work that makes sense to you. But it is about your network. And that is even more complicated for the neurodivergent. There are a lot of challenges. And so I hope to answer a lot of your questions coming up in the new year about what is it that you're trying to achieve in your career? What is it that you haven't had a chance to explain to your boss? I know a lot of you are trying to shift roles. If you don't know how to build your network, if you don't know how to work your network, then you're going to have struggles with your career and in getting a job and in getting hired. It's all about what is your network and what does that look like? So that's also something I want to talk a lot about in the next year and helping my neurodivergent friends and helping parents who have neurodivergent kids who are, what can you do? How can you coach and mentor your child who is trying to get a job but has a little bit of a brain wiring situation going on that they are working to overcome and to manage and to use to their advantage, because that can also be true. And so I just really want to help the neurodivergent people through YouTube, through my podcast, to build your network, to achieve your goals. Can we just talk about that for a minute? Here we are, we're walking into the new year. That's always a big thing for everybody. Everybody likes to have a new beginning. And with the new year, a lot of people are making a lot of resolutions. They want to make a change for the better. We always are looking for to turn over a new leaf, as they say. And you can honestly do that at any point in time. But globally, especially in the United States, I know, and Canada, there are a lot of countries where the new year means a new you. And I was put in a plug for my book, which has come out. This is a proof of the book, but Grapes of Grit is all about accomplishing your goals, how building grit and tenacity, doing sometimes the things that are hard, and building up that muscle of doing hard things, and taking challenges, taking risks, daring to go a little farther than you did the last time that you tried. I want to spend more time in the next year helping you through my channel find out what it is that inspires you and helping you achieve that. For those of you that don't know, it's been a 2-year journey for me. I started 2 years ago. I reached out to my company. And by the way, just so I'm open and transparent with you, I have a whole day job. I work for Procter & Gamble on the Walmart Global Customer Team, and I'm a category manager. And I help Walmart design the shelves that you see within the stores. That's my day job. Everything that I'm doing with my coaching, with my podcast, with my newsletters, all of that is in addition to a regular 40, 50-hour a week job. I spend evenings and weekends dedicated to this, including writing my book. I got married this past summer. My husband and I moved in together. I now have a rental home that I'm also trying to manage at the same time. So I get feeling overwhelmed and not having enough time to get the things done, but I do tend to get more done than the average person. I've just recently adopted the whole getting things done GTD protocol of getting my inbox to empty. This is a whole new set of goal achieving skills for me. And then a friend of mine turned me on to a book called The 12-Week Year. And I have every intention of starting that at the beginning of the year. I am currently wrapping up 500 hours of credentialing, barter coaching, and coaching hours so that I can receive my PCC as a credentialed coach. I just want to improve my ability to coach you, to coach the neurodivergent community, to coach parents and spend time with people to help them achieve their goals, get that job, move forward with their life. And even if it's an athletic endeavor, I am definitely well versed. I have run very long races. I have run over 150 marathons or longer. I've run Vol State, which is a 500-kilometer race with no crew. I did that twice. I finished that race twice in my 50s. I ran Moab 240 when I was 55 years old. I've run several 100-milers. I've run 50-milers. I've run 50K. And so if you're talking about trying to run a long distance, if you want to finish that 10K, if you want to finish that half marathon, I want to help you get to your goals. So I really want you to tune in to my YouTube channel, especially for those of you that are neurodivergent. It's really easy. If you have ADHD, if you have autism, it's sometimes really hard to stay focused, to get on that goal. And I'm a great planner. I know how to bring things together for people and help them break things into small bites so that you can achieve the really big things in your life. My whole premise is when I'm on my deathbed and I look back on my life, do I want to say I did more or less of something? And it isn't, I wish that I had worked more hours doing something I didn't like. I want to spend more hours helping the community. I want to spend more hours up on stage talking to people about how they can achieve those things. I want to spend more time on my YouTube channel. I want to spend more time on my podcast. So if you know about this YouTube channel or you're listening to the podcast, please share it with others if you find this helpful, and know that I really want to help you achieve your goals. I want you to help to get there without failure, but you're going to see failure sometimes. And it's, what do you do when you fail? I had an entire year where I DNF'd, did not finish. I had heat stroke at a 200-mile race, and I only finished 127 miles. I enrolled in another 100-miler, and I hadn't recovered from the previous heat stroke, and I could only finish 50 miles. I signed up for a really rainy race, another 100-miler, and of the 15 people that signed up for the 100-miler, only one person finished, and it wasn't me. I did not finish that race. This was during just year 2021, right after COVID was in its second year. And I attempted the Georgia Death Race, which was about an 80-mile race, very hilly in the mountains of Georgia. And that was my first DNF ever. And it was a hard pill to swallow. But it's when you turn around and you get back up. How do you handle that? And that's really where my book, Grapes of Grit, comes in, is talking about what happens when you run into the wall and things fall apart. How do you pivot and take another run at it? No pun intended, but yes. How do you go at it again? I don't care if it's that you want to be an amazing chef, if you want to change jobs, if you want to write your book. Like, I keep trying new things because I want to be available to people to help them achieve great things. And I want to see how far can I go. That's my personal motto. Dare to go too far. And so I'm going to make mistakes. I'm making mistakes all the time on this podcast and on this YouTube channel. I'm making mistakes with my social media. I probably have made mistakes with my book, and as far as promoting it and for other people finding it. But I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to keep finding out what works, because I want to get the message out to people that you can accomplish great things. Don't let the world hold you back. You can make this happen for yourself, for others, and then you're an example for other people. Just think about how amazing it would be if you accomplish a big goal for yourself, and then you can tell other people how you did it, and you can inspire other people. So I would love to hear from you all. Please comment if you're on the YouTube channel in the messages below, or if you're listening to the podcast or you see me on some of the socials as I try to advertise and get my message out there. Comment. What would you like to hear? What are your goals? What can I speak to for you to help you achieve? I really want to speak to you, and I want 2026 to be your best year ever. So as we go into the Thanksgiving season for the United States, which it will be tomorrow after this airs, I just want to say I'm thankful for those of you that have followed me so far. I want to thank all of those people who supported me, who continued to say, your podcast has really helped me. I really did feel alone, whether they were a neurodivergent listener or whether they were the parent of a neurodivergent person, that they realize that they're not the only one. It isn't easy coming out of the closet. There have been to tell people that you're autistic. I was terrified to let people know, and so far it's been okay. I haven't had any backlash to date, but it could happen to anybody, and I want to be there as a support to you. I want to provide a community. I do hope to, in 2026, to also start some body doubling sessions for those of you that really want to. Maybe you want to write that book. Maybe you need to research. Maybe you're working on that degree program that you never finished when you were a 20-something, and you need somebody to sit with you, but quietly while you work. So if you're interested in body doubling, please leave a comment in the messages that follow the podcast platform or the YouTube channel. I know a lot of neurodivergent people use body doubling to help them focus. I know a lot of writers use body doubling. So let's join hands and walk into 2026 together. Think of the goals that you want to achieve. Let me know what they are, and let's talk about how you can achieve them. So happy Thanksgiving to all my U.S. folks. Happy holidays to all of my listeners around the world. And let's meet. I'll keep doing the podcast, and then the first of the year, expect to see some awesome new changes. Until then, just take care and be well, and I'll talk to you in our next episode.